What is going on, faithful? Now, I am recording in my car today at practice because I lost my AirPods at some point during practice, jumping up and down and, climbing the bleachers and trying to figure out the best angle. So apologize about that. Hopefully the audio's okay. Let me know in the chat here. But practice today was interesting. It was a little bit more chill than normal practices have been. And I think a lot of that had to do with some of the kind of alphas of the team were not out there. Trent Williams had the day off. You had Dre Greenlaw wasn't practicing. CMC wasn't practicing. Tayshaun Gibson wasn't out there. And so you got a lot of backups in some prominent roles with the ones. Elijah Mitchell wasn't out there either. So the theme of the day was kind of depth. What is the idea behind this roster, and can they overcome injuries to some premium positions? And so I thought that was very, very key. The player of the day, in my opinion, left tackle Leroy Watson, who a lot of people don't know about, but they should. Jalen Moore left practice earlier this week with an injury, and Trent Williams got a vet day off. So that I was curious to see if they were going to move Matt Pryor in the swing tackle role over to the left side. They did not. They kept him on the right side, backing up McKivitz. And so, I thought it was rather interesting. So you had this guy, Leroy Watson, who has not got a first team snap or a second team snap yet during camp, got all the ones and got all the 2 reps. The dude worked harder than anybody and was awesome. It was really, really good. There were very few plays that were disrupted coming off the left side. He held his own. That's like the minimum. So I don't want to jump too far in, but good gosh, the fact that he was able to step into first team reps and deliver like he did today, the athleticism was always there. He's the converted tight end, but good gosh, if I was giving out game balls for practice, Leroy Watson's number 1. Now, if we go to the running back position, CMC and Elijah Mitchell out, guess what? That meant a lot of reps for Jordan Mason, who that guy, even with CMC and Elijah Mitchell out there, just looks different. CMC's a whole nother world, but the violence and the speed and the power of Jordan Mason, it's second to none on this roster, and he filled in admirably well. My favorite thing about what he brought today was just catches out of the backfield, whether those were routes on air, team drills, whatever. Elijah Mitchell is stepping up his receiving game. That dude's a baller. TDP looked good. Ronald Awatt, who he led the team out with the Dougie, him and Deshaun Jameson to start practice to kind of pump up the crowd. And so that was pretty fun. I thought he had a hell of a day. He popped several times. And I thought that today, again, just today, I might bump him up over Kalen LeBourne. He just showed something different today that I really, really like. Some of the biggest plays of the day were there. Linebacker with Dre Greenlaw out. DFF continues to be the guy. Oren Burks being in there as well. But the play of the day is none other than D. Winters, who very quiet the first 3 to 4 practices of camp. Last practice before the day off, man, 2 huge plays in coverage. Intercepted Trey Lance late in practice. Hell of a play. I would say probably the biggest play and the only turnover of the day. Now, if we're going to talk about quarterbacks, overall continue to be amazing. You go through the first team drill, Trey Lance was the best quarterback through the first team drill. Wasn't even close, I thought. Some of the biggest throw of the day was Trey Lance on a deep out to Tate Martin off of a play action. I mean, it was just a strike, 20-plus yards, incredible, perfect placement, absolutely incredible. Brock Purdy, just consistent. Sam Darnold, I thought Sam Darnold was the best quarterback in the second team drill where they were doing a move the ball. They came out in the second team drill and they did goal line or short yardage, and then they switched to move the ball. Sam Darnold was the best by far then. So you break up these quarterback times. Brock was consistent the whole time. If I had to give it to anybody today, I'd say Sam Darnold probably had the best day. And if you took away Trey's interception, then I'd say Trey was the best today. But you can't take that away. That was a huge play. It was the first play of move the ball period. And so that, that's a game type situation where he came out and turned the ball over on the very first play. You can't do that. That was a huge kind of inexperienced mistake that I think it weighs heavy. So, if I had to slot the quarterbacks today, even though I have them all close together, I'm going Darnold, Brock, Trey today. But after the first team drill, I would have went Trey, Brock, Darnold. So they're so close to each other. It's not like one is miles ahead of the other or anything like that. That's not what it is. And we saw an adjustment in the quarterback rotation. Brandon Allen got 0 team reps today. So it went, ones with Brock, 2s with Trey, 3 with Darnold, and then they'd flip it. Ones with Brock, 2 with Trey, or 2 with Darnold, 3 with Trey. So I like that way more. Not that I dislike Brandon Allen, but let's just be honest. This is a 3 quarterback race, and we need to constantly see what these guys can do. So we'll see what that is. But fun practice, no injuries, which was huge. They got through a lot. We did see the installment of the 5 defensive line front, which was a lot of fun. They just bumped Kinlaw up with the starting 4, and they were effective. So overall, good practice. Not a lot of negatives to take away, a lot of positives without the stars out there. I'll be back tomorrow to see some of those vet days. I think are going to start seeing a rotation there. But we'll be going live later today where I go through my entire playbook, the play-by-play commentary of today's team practices, one-on-ones, all of that stuff. I've got a ridiculous amount of notes. And so we'll be back later today. Look for that probably around 4:30-ish, depending on traffic to get back home. But today was fun. Besides losing my AirPods, which was the worst thing of today's practice, it was incredible. And so shout out to the Niners. They put together a great program. Nick Clark, the fan engagement committee, awesome. Everybody had a great time out there and excited to see this team keep growing. So until next time, thank you guys. And as always, stay strong, faithful.